Hello everyone, welcome to this crypto morning on Tuesday, September 10th, 2024. The S&P 500 closed really well, up 1.16%. It was hammered Friday, but it's digesting the job data positively. The Nasdaq is also up 1.16%, similar story, ending pretty well. Today we'll see German price indices. We usually check them, but they're not the priority. Tomorrow's the main stat because we know Germany's economy isn't doing great, and it'll give clues about the ECB's next decision. As for rate cuts, it's almost certain there'll be one on the 18th in the US. It'll be the famous pivot we've been waiting for over a year. I think it's been nearly a year with no rate movement, either up or down. We've waited so long. Has it caused any damage? And the current debate, will it be 0.25 or 0.50? If it's 0.50, it might mean we've entered a recession. Not great news, even if inherently it's positive. The market wants a direct 0.50 drop, as money would be much cheaper overnight. But in terms of market interpretation, I think the market would prefer a 0.25 drop. We shouldn't forget, it's still a sword of Damocles hanging over us. In the last 8 days, there were huge outflows of 1.2 billion. What does this mean? It simply means that right now the institutions are moving beyond Bitcoin. We're seeing some impressive movements. Imagine market inflows on top of the momentum that's picking up again. In layer 2, Starknet is one of the biggest bets since its ICO, in my opinion. Looking at the chart, it seems to be evolving in the right direction, especially with the DAO. You know, the decentralized organization voting on staking and other aspects, which naturally makes the project much more decentralized. It wasn't like this before, apparently. We'll see if this affects the token, but it's already experienced a massive pump and dump, which we'll look at next. Toncoin took a big hit, gaining 30% after Pavel Durov's restructuring. Will it lose 30% again in September? I don't see any reason except if there's an external event like recently. On the contrary, I made a special report yesterday. Check it out to see why I think it could be worth a lot. The token seems expensive at 13 billion intrinsically, but it's tackling huge markets. It's basically a Facebook competitor in social networks and could be worth a ton. It might be one of this bull market stars. Now, this is interesting because Bernstein, a major US financial analysis firm, makes two predictions. They forecast Bitcoin at 80-90K if Trump wins and 30-40K if Harris is elected. Remember this prediction because I don't buy it for a second. Personally, I think whether it's Trump or Harris, we're heading, by year end, we might hit 100K. It'll depend on how we progress. Post-election, it may dip, but we'll definitely end the year strong, hitting new 88ths, regardless of who's president of the US. Dogecoin rose a bit, about 10% at one point, due to Elon Musk's comments. Notably, in the last bull market, Elon's tweets would cause 40% jumps in 2020 to 21, 20% in 2022, 5% in 2023, and now 4% up, 5% down in 2024. It's lost its impact. Will he drop a bombshell announcement at some point? We've been waiting for almost 4 years now. Next, MetaPlanet interests me because it's being called the new Japanese MicroStrategy. But it's not a software company, it's an investment fund that simply puts all its cash into Bitcoin. They're calling it the Japanese MicroStrategy. We're not talking the same amounts here. It's more in the millions, but you'll see there are quite a few firms like this. They're an investment fund that invests their own cash in Bitcoin, and they're also developing a consulting service to help their clients invest in Bitcoin too. It's interesting if you check their site. They've rebranded completely, created a Bitcoin company. It looks like Satoshi's site, MetaPlanet. Look at Secure the Future with Bitcoin. Fascinating. They're totally reinventing themselves and offering all their clients, institutional banks, a chance to invest in Bitcoin and be like Michael is Simon Gervais' seller. Will he be as well known? We'll see. Maybe in Japan already. The market's exceptional. These high numbers feel great, like it's been months since we've seen this. Let's look at some great cases confirming reversals and other interesting ones I wanted to show you. We're starting to see great volumes, 36 billion, 16 billion. What would be ideal is if it continues with strong hands and today with rising volumes. For me, the sweet spot is above 50 billion. That's usually when things can really heat up. It's been ages since we've seen Bitcoin's daily growth hit these high figures. I think we've missed that. Let's hope it happens. Now, regarding tokens, I wanted to show you Starknet. Starknet for me was a big deal. It started at just cents, 20 cents. So how did it perform? Hard to say, maybe minutes between 2 and 8, but it shot up to 280. Then it dropped. Seems to stabilize now. Will it stop? I don't know. It's an example of recent years ICOs. You really had to be careful. I avoided almost all, actually all of them. I think the next 6 months will be worse for sketchy ICOs to avoid. As for Bitcoin, amazing inverse head and shoulders pattern confirmed. We're bouncing off support, need to break 3 resistances and that key level. In the short term, over the next days and weeks, the key issue is this downward trend where we're seeing lower and lower highs. For me, the last significant high, as we had an intermediate one here, is around 64,000. I'd say the trend reversal will truly happen when we break through the 64,000 mark. Plus, when we break this level, we'll have confirmed the head and shoulders pattern. This is the target that could flip things. If we break this level, we're more likely to hit a new all-time high. Similarly, with interest rates, we see a head and shoulders pattern confirmed on the daily chart. Another CKB, which we've discussed before, is also confirmed on the daily chart. And then Stacks, or STX, is the cleanest example. It's perfectly horizontal at the same level. I think it's a textbook case. I also wanted to mention RSR, which shows a very clean pattern with shoulders, head, and inverted shoulders. It's magnificent. We should also talk about FTM, which is going crazy with a 20% increase. It's wild because just days ago it was below all moving averages, then it broke past 50 and now it's battling with 100. And it all happened incredibly fast. Could this be related to the recent announcements about the Sonics update? It might also be because it's the fastest blockchain, even quicker than Solana. We have an example with Kant, which is making higher lows, interestingly enough. This is interesting. It's a huge sign of hope. We're hitting a new high. Look, we're breaking through this level, which is a previous high. Unless it completely reverses in the next 24 hours, it might turn negative, but right now it's positive. And I've got one last example that'll surprise you. It's AppCoin. Higher highs, lower lows, then suddenly it started here. A new high, then lower and lower. A first higher high, and now a second one. There's a really nice sequence forming on AppCoin. That's all from me. Have a great day and I'll see you soon. Bye everyone.